What's up, y'all? Back at the pond. Gonna do a little live feed. Check out what's going on. Just talking to Clint. They've been catching some 2-pound bass, which I think were born last season. As you can see, bluegill are doing just fine. And if we give them a minute here, we'll probably see some bass just come in here and crush them. Yep, there was one right there. I don't know if you guys can see because of the glare today. There's another one right there, about 3 pounds. Move my ankle around a little bit. We've just got a massive population of real big bass in here because they've had all these bluegill to feed on. Oh, the grass carp are getting pretty big. See the grass? I don't know if you guys can see the grass carp in there either. It's not a good day for looking. Ooh, got a feeder right here next to us. Somebody figured out we're feeding over here. Come on, get you some. There you go, buddy. So the pond's looking real good, y'all. We're not having any problems, but like I said, I think we don't even have any algae issues, which is an indicator that we're not overfeeding. If the food floats around too long, you'll get a bad algae problem. Actually, I just saw a real small bass. First ones I've actually visually seen. Reproduction's doing well. We really think that, let's take a stroll. I really think some of the fish that Clint caught yesterday were born last year and they're already 2 pounds. And that's what I wanted to talk about with y'all. When ponds get balanced properly, you don't have many 1-pounders, they get eaten. So just as a general rule, if you're fishing and catching a lot of fish on the scale, actually weigh them. And they have a 1.0 to 1.9, and you keep catching them, you got an indication that there's too many of them. Oh, look here, we do have a little bit of algae we can treat today. I'm gonna do it. It's right there, filamentous. I'm gonna do it just to show how Green Clean works. I like Green Clean. It's peroxide based. It's not toxic to fish, and you can't mess it up. If you put copper sulfate will kill that stuff, but copper sulfate will poison it with copper. It's toxic, and it's toxic to fish too, and it's toxic to fish at really low levels. Especially here in Georgia where the water is soft, we've got like 20 parts per million or less in our total hardness. So copper is very toxic here. We have to be very, very careful with copper. So I'm gonna do a little product review for the Amazon Influencer Program today on this filamentous with the Green Clean, so we can get some good information out there. Green Clean's different. Green Clean Pro or Green Clean is peroxide, so the only byproduct is oxygen, and it's actually just like a blender. It physically destroys the cell wall. It doesn't poison the plant. It's actually a physical process that destroys the filamentous algae, kind of like removing it by hand, instead of using a toxin to kill the algae. And there's a lot of information out there like that that's just not available to people, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm not in business to come manage your pond. I'm doing this to help you guys manage your pond. If you've got the money to pay a guy like me, there's plenty of guys all over that can do this type of work, that's fine, pay them. I can't come to Texas. I can't come to all over the country. Pay one of those guys, This page is dedicated to the people who can't afford that, who have to do the work for themselves, like me. I couldn't afford me. So that's why I come on here and that's why I do this. And I see your questions down there, guys, so I'm gonna swing it around, and I'm gonna address some of these questions real quick. There's my man Alex. Yeah, Carter, I like hunting, man. I've been hunting for many years. I've been fortunate to have some friends that had property. My first roommate in college, Lee, has about 1,000 acres in South Georgia, family land, and I was able to go hunting there. Actually, since you brought him up, it kind of came up like that. His dad, John Meeks, he's gone from us now. He passed years ago, but John was instrumental in my life in giving me access to the outdoors at his home. I'm gonna switch hands here. He treated me like I was his own son. I could just go there and hunt and fish on his property, and there's not many people in the world left like that. And I draw a lot of my attitude and a lot of what I'm trying to give back with this page comes from a man like John Meeks, who gave me those kind of opportunities. And I just think that's really important for the kids. I think it's really important for the young adults. I think it's important for all of us, man. And I don't know. John was instrumental in my life and instrumental in this page in his own way. And thanks for asking. Thanks, Carter. I appreciate you, man. Scroll back. Okay, so I didn't miss too many questions. Let's just put eyes on it real quick while we're here, boys. Like I said, we've got some filamentous. That's normal in the springtime. It'll go away. The heat will kill it, but you can also have situations where it gets so bad that it can kill your fish. Normally, this amount, I wouldn't worry about treating, but again, we're going to do a product review about that. So we'll just go ahead and treat it just for the footage. And there's a shallow area over here. There's this little cove they cut out. It's all about 3 feet deep. There's good spawning habitat and gravel beds that we put in over here. So I'm just going to go see what. Oh, here was a little more filamentous popping up here. Guys, I don't know if you guys can see all those little guys. I hear you, Carter. You get back what you put out, brother. Every single time. All right, again, I got a little filamentous along the bottom. I know you guys can't see it because of the glare. I got a grass carp here. I've got polarized, and I need to get a polarized for this cell phone so we can do these little walk-arounds a little bit better. Got some nice little bluegill forage. It's about that long coming out of these rocks. Those bluegill were born last fall on the last spawn, if they're an inch right now. Kind of tell that them being that size means we got a pretty late fall spawn. There's some grass carp. That's what's scared there. There's more grass carp here, a lot of them. I got a lot of grass carp in here for new followers because this is actually an irrigation pond for up there. This is Sugar Hill Outdoors. They're landscape architects and they grow trees and stuff. So this pond was built for irrigation. So our primary purpose is to make sure our water is clean, which is again why we don't want toxic chemicals in here. We can't pump this water up on his trees if we pump a bunch of chemicals in this place. I'm in Georgia, Bentley. This is near Houston, Brazelton area. Actually, if you can hear the road noise and see the tractor trailers, 85's right there. You can see this place from the road. It's about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours of Charlotte. Depending on traffic, I guess. North of Atlanta, about 60 miles. you guys have any questions about pond management, just throw them in there. I'll be glad to help any way I can. It can be tricky. Heck, I was just talking to Garrett this morning about some ponds shocking he had done and things that look confusing. Variables change. So you have to understand the science real good, and you also have to have a little bit of experience to be good at this job. See, we got a little more filamentous. Let me show you guys how to ID filamentous algae since I can reach it. All right, you see how that looks? It doesn't have roots, right? Slime, pond moss, whatever you want to call it, but it gets its name. Just squeeze the water out of it. It's just filaments. It's just long filaments. So it looks like green steel wool. All right, that's filamentous algae, and that's important that you can understand the difference between a plant and an algae. This grass, this is a plant. This is treated with a herbicide like Roundup. This is an algae. Roundup doesn't kill it. You need an algicide, and that's one mistake I see a lot of dudes make. They start putting herbicides on algae. That don't work. Same goes the other way. If you've got a plant out there that you're spraying an algicide on, I can't tell you how many times I've seen guys with plants throwing copper sulfate on it. All right, that's not good. Oh, look at here. You see that? You guys know what those are? Oh, see those eggs? That long train of eggs there? Those are frog eggs. Don't worry, they won't last very long. Bass are going to dust them off. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sit down for a second. If you go up to a pond and you see it full of real big tadpoles with the back legs like frogs developing, like just a bunch of frogs and tadpoles everywhere, that's your first sign there's no bass in the pond. Because frogs will find this place and lay eggs just like that. Bass will not tolerate a tadpole. Tadpoles are only 99% water, so there's not much nutrients in a tadpole. But bass will smoke them. Even though, I always wanted to, if I was to develop a lure, I'd develop a tadpole lure with legs that kick back there, because I know bass smoke them. Carter's got a good question. How do I know what type of fish I have? Well, I stocked them. And I stocked them this way intentionally. There's bass, there's bluegill, there's red ear, AKA shellcracker, a small population, and there's grass carp. And that's all I put in here, Carter. Because it's a pond, it has limited space. It's called carrying capacity, and it can only hold so much. The easiest way to visualize a fish population is think about a piece of pie. Or a whole pie. If you and I were to have a pie and we were to split the pie, we get more forage. But if we have a party, we have 8 people in one pie, we have to cut it in 8 pieces, so each individual one of us gets less pie. That's how it works in a pond. I stock 40 bass per acre in here, and I'm getting about 2 to 2.5 pounds, not quite 2.5 pounds of growth per year. If I stocked 50 bass per acre in here, it would change that, because bass have to consume so much to grow that it would significantly change all the growth rates of the bass in the pond the exact same way I just described that pie. There's not enough food here. We've exceeded the limit. And if you let 60 bass per acre loose in here, they won't hardly grow at all. They just get to about a pound and stunt. They stop growing. That's what people don't realize. All those 1 pound bass they keep throwing back aren't growing and can't grow. If you take some 1 pounders out, you're taking people away from the table. You take 6, you got 8 people we split that pie up to, half of them leave, now there's 4 of us. Now we all get a bigger piece of the forage. That's exactly how it works. So we don't want a bunch of different species of fish in here, because that's just chopping up my pie in every direction. And I especially don't want any other predators in here besides bass, because then that'll reduce my bass growth as well. So it's counterintuitive to everything you've seen on TV. I know, buddy, I know it. But this is how it is. And this is what they teach you in school, and this is what I've done for 30 years as a job, and now I do it because I'm tired of looking at the internet and listening to nonsense. So next week, the 10th, we got an electro fishing boat coming out here on the 10th with Garrett Stamport. He's with I believe they're Premier out of Texas. He's coming east, and I want him to do the job for me. I've got access to electrofishing boats that I can use, but I'm not going to use it. I want another scientist to do this because I've been down this road for many years online trying to help people, and they tend to call you a liar because I haven't heard of this stuff before. It's not mainstream information. And I think having another scientist collect the data and do the measurements, and I'll film it and I'll stand back and watch, that just gives me more strength. And I have the utmost confidence that it'll be fine because I've done this many times. Good question. John Allred's coming through with the male largemouth will get red in their eyes. That is during the spawn, John, and that's a real good observation. It'll go away. And honestly, man, if they even taught us that in school, I forgot it. But I do know that is a condition that you will see the males get in. You'll get that red eye that almost look like a red-eyed bass, really. And it'll go away after the spawn. And honestly, I don't remember exactly why, but it's spawning related and an indicator that, you know, that they're bedding. It'll drop out and go back to normal. I can't remember the exact physiology or to speak educated enough about that. Still got a little bit of filamentous popping up along the bank here. Nothing to worry too much about. One thing you guys want to do is spray deep. If you walk around ponds like me, you'll get ticks. That's why I wear clothes like this and I spray down, because I don't want whatever those things are spreading. Watch for snakes. You guys know that. I say that and I'll probably step on one. So up the shallow area over here is fine. I don't see too much algae. We got a little water primrose popping up down there. Got to keep an eye on that. We don't want more than 30% coverage of weeds in the pond. Once you get more than that, it starts to negatively impact the fish population because the bluegill would have too many places to hide. The bass can't hunt them. You get too many small bass surviving when you get too many weeds, so you kind of skew it towards that. Bass heavy situation with a weed problem. Plants are good habitat until they're not. And there went a frog into here. Did you hear that frog jump in? See that frog jump in? So here's a perfect example. The stream feeding the pond has got frogs living in it. And it's probably because there's not as many, there's no bass quite in here. We won't see any frogs too much. We might see a couple, but they're in a dangerous place. I could promise you. Carter's got another one coming through. Oh, thanks for subbing, Carter. I appreciate you, man. Drop any DMs with any questions. I'll help you any way I can, my friend. We can scroll back through real quick and make sure I haven't missed anybody's question, and I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I gotta get to work. All right, boys. I appreciate you. I appreciate the engagement. Be going live here in a couple days again. I've been broke down up here in Georgia with truck issues. Bought another truck. We'll review it. And no, I do not. Not sure what that even is related to, man. But nope, can't help you there. Anyway, boys, I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.